Hello guys, this is Movie Lover and welcome to this Movie Lover world. Hi friends, today I'm going to explain a movie called Behaving Badly. At the start of the film we see a young boy named Rick who notices his mother, Lucy, who is unconscious on the couch. Rick's mother Lucy had attempted suicide, and many letters were lying in front of him. Rick admits him to the hospital immediately after seeing his condition. Then Rick learns about Lucy's latest writing, which Lucy discovered about her best friend MS Bender and Rick's affair. Perhaps this is why Lucy attempted suicide. Then Rick tells us how it all began and we see Rick's flashback. Rick's mother Lucy is an alcoholic who is unconcerned about her children, and she constantly mentions getting divorced from Rick's father. Rick worked in the club with his sister Kristen. Then we see Rick's father Joseph, and they too do not pay attention to their children and walk away. They stay away from the house. We also get to with all of this Rick has a crush on a woman, Mina. You are very much in his class, but he hasn't even spoken to Mina. Yet Rick then goes to see Jimmy. Jimmy owns the strip club and Rick's sister Kristen works there as well. Then Jimmy instructs Rick to summon one of his dancers, so summoned the dancer. Rick visits the dancer's home, but she refuses to go to the strip club, so she begins seducing Rick. Rick then goes to his friend Billy's house. MS Bender, Billy's mother, is also present. MS Bender then sends Billy out to get some items, and then when Rick was alone in the house it began to draw closer to him and their affair began from there. So the next day at school Billy and Rick were discussing proposing to Nina when Carlos and he arrived. Places a wager with Rick on that he would give Nina $1,000 if he made her his girlfriend. But if Rick is unable to make Nina his girlfriend, he must pay him $1,000. Rick now agrees to the wager after hearing this. However, it is later discovered that Carlos is the son of a gangster, and if he cannot give him the bet money he will kill him. Rick then notices Saint Lola in the bathroom, who is a teenager's imaginary friend. Saint Lola encourages Rick that he can impress Nina and become her girlfriend. Then Rick learns that Nina has broken up with her boyfriend Kevin. Knowing this, he begins to believe that he can make Nina his girlfriend, and while his teacher was teaching him in the classroom he died unexpectedly, causing the students to be excused. Then he was leaving school. Rick approaches Nina and asks her to accompany him to the teacher's funeral. Then Kevin arrives and Nina agrees to accompany Rick to the teacher's funeral in front of Kevin. The next day he attends the teacher's funeral, and those people were in Rick's mother's car. Nina then tells Rick that she likes Josh Garvin's music. When Rick hears this, he tells her that he knows Josh Garvin personally and that he is going to his concert tomorrow. Nina's overjoyed when she hears this and she invites him to accompany her to the concert. So Rick says yes. During this time, someone hits his car from behind, and Rick discovers on his way out that the father of the church has hit him. Rick is then apologized to by his father, who tells him to get his car repaired. Rick has promised to take Nina to the concert now, so he goes to Jimmy and asks him to get him concert tickets. As a result, Jimmy agrees to assist him, but first Jimmy assigns Rick the task of obtaining the drug from his dealer. Rick then goes to get the drug and keep some with him. Rick required a car to attend the concert, so he asks for MS Bender's car, and she agrees to give it to him. When Rick goes to pick up the car the next day, MS Bender then requests that Rick bring Billy with him. Then Rick and Billy come to Jimmy to get concert tickets. However, they discover that Jimmy has betrayed them by failing to purchase concert tickets. Furthermore, they were both thinking that Nina would arrive only then. Then Billy notices Rick's father's car, and as they continue inside they notice Rick's father and Billy's father with a girl. Rick apologizes to Nina for not being able to accompany her to the concert, and Nina forgives him. The following day when they go to school, a new teacher arrives to teach them. However, this teacher also perishes while teaching. When Rick returns home, he receives a call from the car mechanic, who was repairing his mother's car. Rick's car will be repaired in a week, according to the mechanic. As a result, he allows Rick to drive for a while. It was an expensive car. Rick is overjoyed with the car and has a great time with Billy and Nina. However, he is apprehended by the police that night. Rick had been apprehended by the police. Because of this, they discovered the mechanic's body in Rick's mother's car, and Rick was driving the mechanic's car. That's why the cops thought so Rick had assassinated the mechanic. Rick is being questioned here, so Rick informs the police, "I went to the mechanic to get it. The church father had the car repaired." Meanwhile, a lawyer arrives sent by the church's father to assist Rick, and at his request Rick blames his father entirely and the cops abandoned him. Then as Rick was about to drop the lawyer off at home, Rick's drugs are taken by lawyer, and after getting drunk she begins to approach Rick, but because Rick now loves Nina he abandons the lawyer and comes to his house. When he returns home he discovers that his sister Kristen has invited a number of her stripper friends to the house. Rick gets an idea after seeing this, and he informs Billy that we're having a strip club here for one night so we can earn $1,000 to give to Carlos. Rick was doing this because he expected to lose the bet. Then Rick tells Kristen and everyone else about it and they all agree. Billy then calls his mother MS Bender, but here's the thing, Rick doesn't like it at all when MS Bender tries to forcefully seduce Rick. Billy leaves, but Rick avoids them. After a while Billy returns and notices his mother doing strange things. However, Rick instructs Billy to take his mother to another room. Rick then invites Jimmy to the party so that he can deal with Billy's mother. The party will then begin. Billy and Rick begin to make a lot of money. After a while Jimmy appears and Rick directs him to Miss Bender. Nina arrives shortly after this and she went because she was concerned about Rick and the police investigation. Rick then takes Nina to his room where they both get close and are about to kiss when MS Bender arrives. While MS Bender was talking to Rick, Nina learns that Rick is having an affair with MS Bender, which enrages her and causes her to flee. Rick tries to persuade her as she walks away, but then Nina discovers Rick has bet Carlos in order to impress her, which makes her even angrier. Meanwhile the cops have arrived because he opened the strip club without permission. Except for Rick, everyone is arrested. Here with all of this Nina has been arrested, which makes him feel terrible. The next day Rick goes to the police station to meet everyone where he discovers Nina has fallen in love with him as well. But now after what happened she doesn't want to see his face. When Rick returns home he receives a phone call from his father. As a result he got into there was a lot of trouble because Rick had taken his name was called at the police station. So everything up to this point in the film was a flashback. And now we'll move on to the next story. Rick was now under attack from all sides, so he goes to confession at the church. He tells his father about it, their MS Bender's affair. As a result father begins to fight him because he was also having an affair with MS Bender. After all of this Rick goes to Miss Bender and forces him to end his affair for good. When Rick was talking to his mother he went to the hospital to see her. Rick's mother notices that he is upset. As a result she informs Rick that you have to correct everything and admit your error. Rick becomes inspired after hearing all of this. Rick then consults with a lawyer and tells him that I need your assistance to get my friend out of jail right now because Rick does not have it. The fees to be paid to the lawyer. As a result the lawyer hires him on a part-time basis. The lawyer then goes to the police station and obtains the release of Rick's friend. Rick then goes to the hospital to meet his mother where we learn that Nina works part-time there. Then Rick goes to his mother and gives her a divorce paper so that she can divorce his father. Then as Rick was leaving the hospital Na appeared to greet him. Rick apologizes to her first and then tells her what is on his mind. Nina grew to like Rick as well. His proposal sucks. After that both kiss and the film ends here. Thanks for watching. Movie Lover will meet you again with new story. Till take care.